Each and every fall throughout rural America, one special celebration signifies the official end of summer, the traditional county fair. Thousands of Americans look forward with great anticipation to this wonderful tradition. The county fair means fun rides, lots of great food, special competition with prizes and blue ribbons. But one exciting event is the climax to most county fairs. Thousands gather for the star attraction. Stay tuned for the ATPA Truck and Tractor Pull. Welcome to the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky for the Jasper Pulling Series. This is the Lucas Oil Products Bluegrass Nationals. Ted Jones, Tom McConnell, and Bret Kepner here with you. Let's get things started right away with the 4x4 class.
This is one of the most popular classes anywhere, and a lot of it's got to do with the size of these engines. This is truck pulling's mountain motor class. This truck here about 650 cubic inch as Gary Varner goes down the track.
He'll set the mark for the others to follow. Remember, he is on the test pull. He can either accept or reject the pull, 215 feet, and he'll take it, Tom.
Well, most of the time, Ted, the guys, when they turn down their pull, they regret it. So most of the time, the guys will keep their first pull.
Here comes Poor, Proud, and Country. This is Ricky Wyatt.
This is actually a pro stock truck, Ted. 1 4-barrel carburetor. He's a little under class, but he's pulled at Meade County for many, many years. Had to come here and play with the big boys.
He didn't play very well, though. 193 feet, 215 was the mark to beat. A record crowd on hand here for this great Jasper Pulling Series truck and tractor pull. Over 10,000 people. Now let's check in with Bret Kepner.
During engine assembly, a lot of people tend to use silicon gasket sealer for just about every single aspect of the procedure. But this week on Valco Tech Talk, we're going to show you a product that indeed will help you prepare your gaskets correctly, and you won't run into the problem with silicon gasket sealer, and that's, of course, the inability to get the gasket off the oil pan or any other surface. That product is called Hylamar. Now, this was originally created by Rolls-Royce for turbine aircraft applications years ago. But Valco Products uses it now in both the tube form and, believe it or not, an aerosol form that can do all kinds of things a gasket sealer silicon type won't do. First of all, you only need a little tiny bit of this stuff for it to work, and it's darn near like Velcro. It'll pull on and off very, very easily. And that's especially important when it comes to the non-metallic gaskets, like oil pan gaskets in particular, where indeed they stick to the pan rails with traditional gasket sealer. This product is available just about everywhere, and it's the one piece of equipment that a lot of people fail to use. It's important, if you want to save money on gaskets, to use something that's going to allow you to get that gasket off without ruining it.
And as we all know, we're all in favor of saving money, and so is Jim Lyons.
Well, what Jim Lyons wants to do right now more than save money is win the four-wheel drive truck class here in Brandenburg. He's won it before at this pull.
And he takes the lead, 216 feet. Bret Kepner is once again in the pits.
Well, Ted, this could be one of the most beautiful vehicles we've ever seen in the pulling sport. Jake Owen has one of the most amazing-looking pieces of equipment you'll ever see, the Outrage Chevrolet. But that young face in there, believe it or not, he's a seasoned veteran. You'd never believe how long he's been at this game.
My dad got me started, I guess, about 15 years ago or so.
15 years ago, when you were 4?
About that. We've been doing it ever since.
Your dad was always a puller?
Yeah, we've had 2 trucks up until the last month and sold it to a guy that's out here tonight.
No kidding? Which other truck used to be yours?
It's called the Mad Dog.
That was probably your Rampage truck then?
Yes.
Why go to just one truck?
Maintenance, money.
It all adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's too much time consuming to have 2 trucks and only 2 guys running with them, so we decided to get rid of one and try to be competitive.
Now, is this a family effort?
Mostly Dad and I.
At 19 years old, this kid could be a killer. Whether or not he can handle the experience of a Donna Webb or even of a Brad Hunter remains to be seen, but let's face it, after 15 years, this seasoned pro still is not old enough to vote.
All right, thank you very much. Jake will be up with us in just a minute. He's rolling off the scales. Right now, though, a giant belt buckle Ford. This is Johnny Smith.
And the guy that just pulled before him, Jim Lyons, he's the guy doing the wrenching on this Ford engine.
Well, let's see how well he wrenched it. The number to beat is 216 feet. The Ford's coming down. Don't believe he has enough. 205 feet for Johnny Smith and the Just Amazing. Now, here's that outrage truck of young Jake Owen.
Jake's out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, just down the road. In fact, adjoining county. Got a lot of fans here locally wanting to see him do good.
I think he's going to do it. He's going past the mark. Yeah! He roars his approval. 220 feet, and he's one happy guy. But we have more 4x4s to come when we return. Please don't touch that dial. Welcome back to the Meade County Fairgrounds, our continued coverage of the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Truck and Tractor Pull from the Bluegrass state of Kentucky. Hi, everyone. I'm Ted Jones, your host for this evening's event, and I'm standing at the full pole mark. However, our cameraman is standing at the 200-foot mark. Now, consider this. In tractor pulling, they're incremented every 50 feet. So where's the 250-foot mark? Right here. This particular pull course is only 250 feet long, a little short. But the most important thing to notice is how it finishes, a slight uphill grade. As a matter of fact, they call it the hill at Meade County. Let's get back to the action.
That's the goal of every puller that comes to Brandnburg, Ted, is to say, hey, I climbed the hill, and I climbed it farther than you. That's just what this guy is wanting to do. Steve Clem, another one of those Versailles, Kentucky trucks.
He would like to beat the mark just set by young Jake Owen, 220 feet. Let's see if Steve Clem can do it. He's on a good path, right down the center of the course. That's the way you want to do it. Not correcting much one way or the other. Can he do it? No, sir. 213 feet. He comes up about 7 feet short. This coverage being brought to you by Lucas High Performance Oil Products and by Jasper Engines and Transmissions. Here's our next puller, Aaron Mobley from Harrodsburg, Kentucky.
Aaron is just getting off his first win this year. In fact, the last truck pull out, Danville, Kentucky, the Mad Dog was ¡1.
The Mad Dog will settle for 214 feet. Now, Bret Kepner has moved up into the spectator area.
Man, there's a bunch of people here. I saw a guy that looked like Ted Jones, but looked a little bit more like W.C. Fields. Wait a minute. This guy here, this guy's a dead ringer for J.R. Embry. Remember the guy that started Exile? Have anybody ever tell you you look just like J.R. Embry?
Yes, they have, by the way. By the way, I am J.R. Embry.
That explains it. That explains it. What in the world are you doing here?
Oh, we're here watching tractor pulls tonight, and Tom, the coordinator, is a good friend of ours, so we all came out and, you know, going to be here with him tonight. So.
You got quite the following here. Is this the paid fan club, or who are all these people?
Yeah, this is true. They're all good friends of mine, so we all came out in support of Tom and all them, so we're going to be out here with him tonight.
Something tells me you've been a pulling fan for a while.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. A long time. Of course, I grew up in Kentucky and been around all the tractor pulls all my life, and we're a big fan of them.
I mean, let's face it, you meet some mighty down-to-earth people in this business.
That's a fact. We sure do.
What do you like better, trucks or tractors?
I'd have to go with trucks. I'd have to go with trucks.
Wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? You'd be a truck fan. Ted, let's go to the tractors.
No, we can't do that yet, Brett. We have to finish up the trucks, beginning with this one that belongs to Brent Brown that looks more like a cow.
Well, is it any surprise, Ted, that this guy's actually a dairy farmer?
He calls it my other truck, and he's going to take a shot at unseating the #1 puller right now. Good straight run. You can see that mud and dirt being thrown by all 4 tires. 212 feet.
Ted, he's trying to beat Jake Owen, who's one of the youngest drivers out there. Brett's only 19 as well, so a lot of young drivers in the sport of truck pulling.
Here comes the renegade, Galen Young.
Galen, another one of those strong Versailles, Kentucky trucks. Galen has not won an event this year, but hey, he's humming in there close, Ted.
He's on a pass. He's almost to a full pull. They give him the red flag. 225.68 feet. Remember, a full pull is 250 feet, but he takes the lead with that move right there.
Galen won more events last year than anybody, so he is really hunting his first win of the year really bad, Ted.
They're measuring by a different method here in Brandenburg, Kentucky, and with more on that, let's go once again to Bret Kepner.
Well, Ted, you'll notice a little bit different measuring system at this particular Jasper Series event than what we've seen previously this year. First of all, you won't see measuring crews running out to gain the measurement to the 1/8 of an inch. Indeed, we're getting measurements to the 1,000th of a foot. It's a brand new Topcon laser surveying system. The laser beam reflected off of a base plate on the back of the pulling sled that indeed measures every single pull 3 digits. That's right, to the 1,000th of a foot. So I know you won't be talking about 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. You'll be talking .001 if you have to.
Modern technology moves on in every form of motorsport.
Well, Ted, here's a truck that's definitely living up to its name. Danny Hunter, truck called Family Tradition. The reason it's called Family Tradition, you're going to see his son, Brad Hunter, out here a little bit later on. A father and son team. Here's the father's truck.
Tightening the lug nuts at the last moment before the truck leaves the line. On a good pull right now. Danny Hunter, the Family Tradition. Looks like he's about to stall out. Does he have enough? No, he comes up way short. 203.73 feet, as Brett pointed out, will not get the job done.
Alan Sneed's coming up next out of Lancaster, Ohio. This guy does a lot of cooking in his spare time. Well, actually, it's not in his spare time, Ted. He owns a restaurant. That's his family business.
Lost in the 50s, a very popular truck with the crowd because of the nostalgia theme. Nice looking pull, Allen, straight and true, 219 feet. That's a good pull. You can see the excess alcohol being burned out of the headers right there. The number to beat, 225 feet. The dog will try it when we come back. Welcome back to the Meade County Fair in Brandenburg, Kentucky for the Jasper Polling Series. We're at the Lucas Oil Bluegrass Nationals. Ted Jones, Tom McConnell, Bret Kepner with you, and Pat Paul is ready to pull. He came all the way from Atlanta, Georgia.
And farther than that, he's originally from Washington State, and this truck in the state of Washington was a points champion a couple of years back.
He calls this truck troublesome, and it may cause some trouble for our leader, Galen Young. Nope. 209 feet, looked like he was going very well, and all of a sudden that weight pushed down on that rear axle and he was done. So the junkyard dog, one mean truck, will take over now.
Well, Ted, this truck has a unique setup. It's not often that you see a Chevy body with a Ford engine. If you ever see that, it's the other way around. Chevy body, Ford engine, so I guess the Ford fans can cheer.
You can see the butterflies open up on what appears to be a hat on top of a blower. It's not. These trucks are injected, no blowers permitted. They can run alcohol, however. Good pull, but not quite enough. 220 feet, he comes up short. Now it's time for this week's Best Appearing Award.
It could win the Best Appearing Award at any event. Power, it's got a ton of it. One of Jerry Janke's finest General Motors products. And it's one of the slickest acts in the entire American Tractor Pullers Association. But Brad Hunter could be one of the youngest competitors in the nation in the four-wheel drive modified pickup truck class. Without a doubt, this truck could easily contend with Donna Webb to win this event. What's Brad got on his side? Well, one thing might be the fact that he doesn't know anything else.
Started when I was 15 years old.
It's never 16 when people get their driver's license. You always squeeze in there a year ahead of time.
Got to slip in a little early. We run a county fair back home, and we'd slip in there, kind of cut in just a little bit early.
Now, did you start out in the four-wheel drives?
Yeah, I started out in four-wheel drive in a street class.
Oh, okay.
And then when I turned 16, I started driving a modified truck.
Now, was this purely your decision, or was this something old man Hunter decided to push you into?
Now, it was my decision. That's all I've ever been around all my life, so it kind of just fell into it naturally.
So this is something that you had planned on since you were young?
Yes, sir.
How old were you when you first started going to pulls?
When I was a baby.
So earlier than you can remember. So this is all you've ever known?
It's all I've ever known.
What's the most entertaining aspect for you as a driver, or even as just a member of this team, about the sport?
Just to see the good friends, you know, and everybody getting along good and good competition, you know.
Now, Jerry Janke builds some of the best four-wheel drive motors in this sport. I mean, no question about it. Was it a matter of getting on Jerry Janke's infamous engine-building list? Did you become a customer, or did you have closer ties than that?
Now, we bought the truck that already had a Janke engine in it, and we went with Tom DeMogan, and Joe Hall has been helping us out on our engines, working over the top of the Janke combination, which are so good.
What's the strongest point of this truck?
It hooks the track real well, and it don't try to jump, and, you know, and it makes good horsepower.
Well, this kid doesn't need car driving experience to excel in this class, but whether or not he can contend with the queen of this division remains to be seen. One thing's for sure, Brad will be in there as one of the real crowd favorites.
Thank you very much, Brett. Brad is hooked up right now. The Salem, Kentucky-based truck is going to try and beat the leading mark, 225 feet.
Well, he's always in contention, but he has yet to win his first ATPA title. It doesn't look like he's going to pick it up in Brandnburg tonight, Ted.
No, just a little short, 215 feet for the young man. Nice effort, though. Our next puller now has beautiful chrome work on that truck, and it belongs to David Hobbs. This is the strictly business truck out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, David may live in Louisville, but he's got a lot of family here in Meade County cheering for him, so he's hoping he can do well in front of him.
He has chosen to line up over there on the far side of the course, looking for the all clear from top end. The flagman hangs out the green flag, and David stomps on the loud pedal.
Well, David's a banker. That's what he does to make enough money to pull with this thing. But let's hope he's making enough horsepower to get up at the far end.
Straight and true down the far side of the course. Does he have enough? No. 214.46 feet for David Hobbs. Nice try. Now, one competitor remains that could take the lead away from young Galen Young. That competitor, Donna Webb. Bret Kepner talked with her earlier.
You came off of Wabash, obviously with the only full of the entire event. That had to give you a lot of confidence. But now you're at a track you've never run at before. How do you approach an event like this where you don't know what to expect?
We do a lot of studying of the track and stuff as it's being laid, and my husband goes and he's got a probe that he probes the track all during the other classes and stuff that might pull for us, and just hope we can select the right gear.
Now you obviously set up a gear based on a guess before the first pull in the first round. Is there anything you can do to change the truck outside of the gear if he finds out that things are different than he thought?
No, gearing is your main thing, other than maybe driving technique or something like that.
So that means you've got to pay attention too.
That's true.
You settle for second.
Donna Webb hooked up. This gal's plenty tough out of Oklahoma with a Ford pickup truck.
Well, I don't think it's any trouble at all for her having to pay attention to her duties as a driver. She's won 4 out of 6 events so far this year. Maybe going for number 7, Ted.
She's very close, still moving, hasn't stopped, waiting on the red flag. It finally falls, and she's going to be about 3 feet short. So our winner will be Galen Young.
You're it. Number 1.
Sounds good to me. I'll take it, baby.
First time in a while somebody's beating her at ATPA.
Well, I'm telling you what, the lady is tough. She is hard to handle.
A lot of people commented on the ground speed your truck gets. I mean, it just seems to be pulling literally in terms of miles per hour faster than anybody else.
Well, full awful big gear, got some horsepower, so.
It takes the gear and the horsepower and the driver. Congratulations, my friend.
Well, the queen has fallen. Coming up next, those wild, unpredictable Superstocks. Back at the Meade County Fair in Brandenburg, Kentucky, you're watching the Jasper Pulling Series at the Lucas Oil Bluegrass Nationals. Ted Jones here with you, along with Tom McConnell and Bret Kepner, who's ready to tell us all about our first puller.
Well, Ted, at virtually any form of motorsports nowadays, you'll find 2-car teams. Virtually any form of motorsports now, you'll find male and female racers. But one thing's for sure, the sport of pulling almost always presents a male-female combo as family. Believe it or not, the 2 blue mule Fords that you see behind me from Enville, Tennessee are driven by a man and a woman. But they are not related. As a matter of fact, the whole thing started out as a family friendship that has led to a 25-year partnership.
Well, we just started out in the farm class. Me and her dad was good friends, and so we just picked it up from that. She got old enough to drive, and she just couldn't stay out of the seat, so she went to driving. She's made a good driver, and she's done good so far the last 2 years.
So this didn't start out as you asking her if she wanted to drive. This was a matter of trying to keep her out of it.
That's just trying to keep her out of it. She just wanted to get her hands greasy and drive, so she made a good one.
Obviously, the old-school pilot in this partnership still thinks highly of the younger one. But how did she get into this act?
Well, yeah, I kind of kicked my father out of the seat and took over for him a few years ago. So it's just kind of a family ordeal.
He says that you started this literally in diapers. How early do you remember wanting to do this?
Ever since I can remember going. I just kind of grew up, and I was a little grease monkey. So that just is in my system. It's just kind of when it gets in, you can't get it out.
Now, your father obviously has backed you all the way on this.
Oh, yes, all the way. He's always kept me in the shop, and I started out working on it, and he said I'd worked on it long enough, it's time to get in the seat. So.
Now, what kind of an arrangement do you have with Fred as far as driving or owning or whatever?
Now, he owns his, and this is ours separate, so it's kind of a partnership, but still he drives his, and I stay on mine. But now, unless I can't go.
But he can't tell you too much then.
I wouldn't say that. Well, we kind of share secrets pretty good, yeah. It's, we don't get too mad when nothing beats us, so.
How often is it mistaken for father-daughter?
Quite often. And I'll have to admit, I claim him as my second daddy, so, because he helped raise me. If anything ever come up and we couldn't go to one, my daddy couldn't go, he'd always come, so, you gonna go with me? Well, sure, you know, just let me get there.
It may be a sport of mechanical monsters, but ask any pulling team and they'll tell you what they enjoy most is the family aspect of the sport of pulling that you can find here in the pits that doesn't necessarily have to do with relations. Well, one thing's for sure, the Roach and Herndon partnership takes the whole meaning of family to new levels in the sport of pulling.
Without question, family a big part. Fred Roach is ready to go now in the 5,500-pound Superstock tractor class.
And speaking of family, Fred and his brother own a sawmill in West Tennessee. And speaking of pulling, Fred's getting out of shape there, Ted.
He is just about ready to go out of bounds, Tom, and they finally give him the red flag. He'll stop with a 217-foot mark. Nothing to be proud of. Hooking up next right now will be the number 2 puller, Eddie Long.
Well, Eddie's running a 560 International alcohol. You're not going to see the diesel smoke coming out of this tractor, but listen to the RPMs, Ted.
Sounds just a little strange. A lot of weight out on the front end of that tractor, and he does about the same thing. They're both pulling hard over there to one side. He comes up short, 210 feet. So let's see if a John Deere can do better.
Well, at our last event up in Hilliard, Ohio for the Superstock tractors, Randy Payne by 2 inches, Ted, was second place behind Leroy Mason. So still looking for that ever-elusive first win of 1997.
He calls this tractor guesswork, and the John Deere pulling with wheels up. He's going to go a long way. He's already passed the 217 mark. He's going to shut it down 230 feet, and the crowd roars their approval on that one. Yeah, they like that one. Bret Kepner, get down there and find out what he did.
230 feet, and that was pretty much an untested track for this class. You proved where it could go.
Well, I don't know. It probably won't stand.
It was awfully high.
Lots of good tractors left back there.
I don't know. Your points leader, and this didn't change number 1 yet.
Can't never tell.
That's true. You never know. And here comes the blue mule of Nish Herndon. That's Fred Roach's buddy.
This is the girl that kicks her daddy out of the seat, and her daddy says he's never done any good ever at Meade County. And, well, doesn't look like Nish is either tonight.
Nish had a wild ride, though, ended at 203.56 feet. Let's take one more look at it with our Lucas Oil replay.
Ted, she's just getting out of control. The tractor is wanting to go one way, and she's wanting to go another. Of course, that means she's got to drive that tractor by the brakes and by her guts, because she's got a lot of guts to hold onto that thing. It's doing just what the mule says. It's a bucket.
She's fighting that wheel all the way down to when she finally gets the red flag and is forced to lift and get out of it. Now, more wheels up action coming at you when we return after this break. There's nothing like a county fair at night. Welcome back to the Meade County Fairgrounds just outside of Brandenburg, Kentucky, as we continue our coverage of the Jasper Pulling Series and the Lucas Oil Bluegrass Nationals. Ted Jones, Tom McConnell here with you. We're ready to continue with the 5,500-pound Superstock class. Here's Mike Sabey and his Canadian Miss.
Well, this is a unique tractor. It's named Canadian Miss because this John Deere was actually produced in Canada as a farm tractor. Not any of them except for this one are ever pulling.
He stops at 219 feet. That will not get the job done. Darren Smith and his walking tall will hope to do that. Bret Kepner visited his pit area earlier today.
Well, Ted, the last time we saw Darren Smith in the walking tall Ford, it was doing just that. Remember Wabash, Indiana? 3 times in one run, straight up and down. He broke the wheelie bars off the thing, yet repaired them at the event by bolting them together and came back for the next category of competition. Darren, what have you changed for this one?
We took the old wheelie bars off because of time constraints and went to the garage and put a quick fix on it. When we get a break in time between pulls, we're going to put a set of heavy-duty ones on there. We just got enough on there to get us by right now.
Now, are these different in length or anything, or are they pretty much what used to be on there?
No, they're within the rules and everything. They're just steel. The other ones were aluminum, so these are a little bit heavier.
And certainly should hold up a little better than the aluminum ones did.
Well, we hope so, and hopefully we won't be up that high anymore.
The wheelie bars are fixed, but he does call it walking tall.
Well, there's a story behind that. The reason it's walking tall, Darren is actually a police officer, and his little favorite hero from the movie Walking Tall, Ted, well, let's leave it at that.
Wheels are up in the air, not as high as we saw them, though, at Wabash, Indiana. He's going to shut down with the red flag at 229 feet. The figure to beat was 230. He came real close.
Well, the new wheelie bars work, but boy, it still was up there, 11 inches short.
Yeah, we just can't get our weight right this season for some reason. We were about 50-pound light on the front end. We thought the track would break up more, but it's stackier than what we thought.
So you think the extra weight on the front end would have kept it down enough to take it the extra foot?
I think it had got me the 11 inches that I needed.
Well, that's good, though. That means you're learning something.
Yeah, that's pulling.
Our next competitor will be Larry Phillips. He's off the tractor working on it right there. Some sort of mechanical difficulty. He won our Jasper Best Engineer Award earlier this afternoon.
As we understand,
the Jasper Racing Engine's Best Engineered Award is a feather in any team's hat, but this one deserves special recognition. This is Larry Phillips' Insanity 686 International tractor that runs in the 5,500-pound category. Now, what makes that so unusual is that you're looking at a 6-cylinder engine that is more than 100 cubic inches larger than the vast majority of any other power plant in the category. We asked Larry why in the world this thing's even legal in the 55 division.
I had a 360-inch motor and never could, get out in front of these guys, and I just wanted something different that nobody else had. So that's why we built the 540.
And probably one of the largest internationals that's ever run in this category, isn't it?
In the 5 class, I would expect so, yes.
Has it worked out? How much different is it to drive?
Oh, it's a lot more exciting.
Well, most of the engines in the 5,500-pound category are of the smaller displacement, obviously less than 400 cubic inches. Larry Phillips seems determined to make this thing work. Whether or not it happens at this event, we're about to find out.
I can't believe 6 cylinders, 540 cubic inches. That is incredible. He continues, though, to struggle. Some sort of little ailment has him out, and he's not going to be able to compete. But Lowell Patterson is.
Lowell Patterson at one time was one of the strongest Fords in the country. He sat out for about a year. Glad to see him back.
Lowell Patterson will stop the Ford just beyond the 200-foot mark, make it 224.23 feet. Remember, the number to beat is 230, and Leroy Mason will try that.
Well, Leroy's tires may be very paramount to his success at this track. Got double-cut tires. Double cuts traditionally work very well in Brandenburg. Check it out, Ted.
Waddling back and forth. Look at him work those brakes. He's done it. He set the mark. 246.78 feet to take the lead. But there's one puller remaining. Shirley Haney.
Shirley farms about 3,500 acres of cotton. So every morning you put on your Fruit of the Looms, this is the guy you think.
246 feet. Haney on a good run. A little bit of water spewing out the front end of that tractor right there as it proceeds down the 250-foot course. Shirley Haney short, 238 feet. That gives the win to Leroy Mason. When we come back, Super Modifieds. The ATPA does an excellent job preparing the course as we get ready for our next class. That will be the 2-wheel drive super modified trucks. And look who has drawn the test pool. The man, the Missouri Raider. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Dick McPherson.
Well, this past February, Dick McPherson was second at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville. That's about 20 miles north of here. Let's see if he can take some of that magic here in Brandenburg.
A 1923 Bucket T. Look at wheels in the air. He'll set the mark. 249.22 feet. That's less than 1 foot shy of a full pull here in Brandenburg, Kentucky. Here's Bret Kepner.
249.22. I have a feeling you're going to stay with that one.
Oh yeah, I'm going to go. It wasn't that bad a run. I didn't get off the line quite like I thought I should have, but it wasn't too bad. The frame picked up good and carried good. Maybe a slight bit high, but we'll go with that. It's a pretty good run. I'm pleased.
Based on what you know, especially the rest of the class, do you think it'll hold, or do you think there will be a full pull?
Oh, we got a lot of good trucks back there, and I kind of think maybe the track will come around a little bit better. Maybe I was on the wrong side of the track. Maybe there's a better spot. So we'll live with whatever happens.
It's not like there's not any more McPherson's to pull for.
Well, I know. We got none. I got to help him. There's only one truck.
Go for it.
Thank you.
Usually, the test puller does better by keeping his first run, so we'll see how Dick turns out earlier. You see Dick there on the track. His son, Jeff McPherson, is driving their other T-Bucket right now, and Jeff is out of here, Ted.
Full pull for Jeff McPherson, to be exact, 257.04 feet. The crowd roars. It's
All right, how much of that was Dad and how much of that was you?
Well, I try to do as I'm told. The two trucks gives us an advantage. We learn from the one truck. I watched Dad's truck. It was about a foot too high in the front end, so we put a little bit more weight on the front of this truck.
And you went to the complete other side of the lane.
Yeah, we watched the holes in the track. The holes were getting kind of bad on the starting line, so we just looked for two good tracks to run down. And Dad stood at the end and says, come this way. But when it got to the end, it wanted to hook over to the right-hand side. But let's let it go when you're getting that far. We're happy. So a good clean run with the motor, Valco silicone, keep everything clean, dry. It's finally getting to run.
Unbelievable bass. Good job.
Thank you.
A full pull now is the mark to beat. David Richardson would like to do that. He's driving the Kodiak truck, and his young son is on the sidelines from Litchfield, Kentucky. Let's watch him as Richardson pulls.
Well, earlier this year in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, David Richardson was the man to beat, and last year out of 21 trucks in Manassas, Virginia, a second place.
Young Richardson excited. Oh, a terrific engine explosion right there. I think he lifted the blower. He seems to be all right. Let's take one more look at it with our Lucas Oil replay. Wheels in the air as he gets down to about the 250-foot mark. The front end comes down, and kaboom.
I can't believe you're smiling. I mean, only a couple of feet from the end, and the blower went with a bang.
Well, it was a good run. That blower belt's not bad. I'll take it, and it's better than letting oil on a track, I guess what I'm saying.
It looked like it had at least one dead cylinder on the left side.
This is we run it on keel all the time, and a lot of times we back out of it. It's got a thing that throws a lot of fuel to it, and it's not
really just a bypass.
Yeah, it's just a bypass on it. That's all it is. The motor's fine.
Well, believe it or not, the most damage I saw outside of the belt was it blew the turn signals right off.
Well, we can put them back maybe.
Great show.
Well, everybody thanks. Appreciate it.
Jim Lyons with the stitches will be our next puller, but, you know, Jasper puts up a big point fund for these guys to follow on the ATPA Tour, and we have a special guest from Jasper Engines here this evening.
Standing next to me is the man behind really the whole event. Vice President of Jasper Racing Engines, Tom Schrader. And Tom, a lot of people associate Jasper with all kinds of motorsports except this. Where's the involvement?
Well, we've been involved in the tractor pulling and truck pulling series for about 5 years now. And a lot of these folks run our products in their vehicles, a lot of them in their support vehicles, and maybe some of the guys in their shops use them to install them in their customers' vehicles in their shops.
Got to be one of the nicest guys ever involved in the sport of truck pulling. Tom Schrader from Jasper Engines and Transmission has done a lot to advance the American tractor pullers. And here's one of the toughest pullers with the American tractor pullers, Jim Lyons, out of Louisville, Kentucky, getting up in the air with the two-wheel drive.
Way up in the air, 239 feet, not a full pull. So when we come back, we'll let the funny cars try and do it. You're watching the super modified two-wheel drive trucks pulling at the Lucas Oil Bluegrass Nationals in Brandenburg, Kentucky. Ted Jones, Tom McConnell, and Bret Kepner. Check out this classy chassis. Funny car, that's right, folks. He said funny car. He was down in their pit area a little bit earlier.
One look at that grill work will tell you this is no ordinary truck. As a matter of fact, it's not even a truck. And for one of the very first times, the Lucas Oil Company Best Appearing Vehicle of the Event Award went to something that isn't a truck. This is Richard Rhinesmith's funny car bodied machine. Certainly one of the only ones in the category, but you drag racing fans don't start thinking that this used to be somebody's drag racing vehicle.
Well, this one here comes from North Carolina. Paul Norman built it first, and then we bought the whole outfit, but the only thing that's left is the body. Everything's been changed since then.
But even from the body standpoint, Norman built this as one of the first of the two-wheel drive funny cars, right?
Yeah, a long time ago. It was one of the first ones built.
Yeah, because it's so common to see an ex-drag racing vehicle get turned into a puller, but this one was purpose-built.
Yeah, it was purposely built with a skidder rear end and that stuff. Motor set clear back like where a dragster usually does. Then we've moved everything no farther out now.
Obviously, the technique of getting the motor out over the front end has come about in the last 10 years or so. But this thing seems, maybe it's just the appearance, it seems with a longer wheelbase than even the trucks in the class.
Actually, it's really shorter because the nose sticks out so far on the front of it. So we have a little more problem with weights that way.
So the overhang actually makes it look longer.
Yeah, it makes it look longer, about a foot longer than what it really is.
Obviously, funny car bodies are designed to be low and sleek, but this thing takes that to new dimensions. Regardless of its body style, it's still one of the favorites, maybe because of its uniqueness. But one thing's for sure, Richard Rhinesmith's machine definitely earned the Lucas Oil Best Appearing Vehicle Award.
It is a looker, Brett, without question. He hails, by the way, from Findlay, Ohio, just north of Beantown, Lima.
Well, Richard Rhinesmith is trying to get that front end up. Oh, he finally gets it up. He's been nose heavy all year, and now he gets her up and shuts her down 241.64.
We'll move from a funny car body to an El Camino. Is it a truck? Is it a car? That argument rages on.
And for anybody that's been around pulling for a long time, if this truck looks familiar, it should. It's the former Midnight Express truck of Ken Lamont. Russell Corp's got it now. Stops at 244.96.
Not good enough to beat the full pull, but here's the guy that could do it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Darrell Varner and his rare breed.
Look at Jeff McPherson sitting there, Ted. He knows this is the #1 truck in the country right now. He doesn't want him to beat his dad, let alone get a full pull to where he has to run again.
Nice try for Varner, 243 feet. Jeff McPherson is safe. Who will be up next? Oh, Mr. Heavy, Rich Sandiford from Cincinnati, Ohio. This guy could do it.
Well, he's had a really bad week, Ted. He broke the truck last Friday night, barely made the pull last Saturday night, scraped to make the pull Monday night, and it's Friday here in Brandnburg, and he's made a full pull, Ted.
Let's see what Jeff thinks.
That, my friend, looks like a pull-off to me.
Yeah, it looks like it. It makes a good run. Keep Black Hemi by Rick Hickman. That truck runs really well and got a good hook that time.
Now, the track has changed an awful lot since you ran. He knows exactly what it's like. Is that an advantage for him?
Not really, because I would say he watched what we did, because his run was pretty much a carbon copy of what mine was. So,
going to go in the same place?
We'll have to look at the starting line, see what it's like. We want to get the best spot off the starting line.
Good luck. It's not over yet, buddy.
Thank you.
Well, you get the feeling, Ted, he's not really going to tell you what his game plan is till he hooks to the sled.
And he's getting ready to hook with the sled right now. Bret Kepner is with Rich Sandiford. Let's find out what he thinks.
Oh, buddy, you just made this a pull-off.
Well, we've been having some problems, so we're glad to get one in now.
You know, it was amazing. The sled was so tight on this particular class. I mean, everybody was between 240 and 250, it seemed. You pulled it out.
Well, we were kind of watching the other ones, and it was a tough decision to make what to do because the track was changing a little bit, but we'll see what happens in this next run.
McPherson pulled 257 feet. This is the pull-off. Let's see if he can repeat it.
He's got a good run going, but the engine's going down on him, Ted. He's got major problems.
A lot of smoke. He'll have to settle for 207 feet. That may not be enough. Rich Sandiford could very easily beat that, but he has his own problems.
That's right. He just ran that truck about 10 minutes ago. The engine is extremely hot. We don't know if he can get past 207 or not.
He was 256. Oh, he's got it beat. He's got it, Rich Sandiford. 220 feet. He picks up the win in the pull-off, and the crowd approves. Bret Kepner's with our winner.
Well, Rich Sandiford couldn't ask for a better place to win. I mean, this was a nice one.
I tell you what, we've had a really rough week. We broke a motor last week, dropped the valve, and this is a brand new motor in here, and it's doing the job.
Obviously doing the job. I mean, to pull it out at the very last pass of the first round and then come through with this, great job.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We appreciate the crowd and everybody who's here, too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our congratulations from the booth. Coming up next, the heavyweight Superstock tractor.
If you like the sound of a supercharged engine and you can't resist the sight of a smoke-glowing Superstock tractor, if you adore dirt-clinging 4x4s, then what are you waiting for? Join the ATPA today. For $35, you'll receive the latest schedule, season updates, decals, and the sport's best color magazine, The Full Pull. Know all that's going on in the sport of pulling. Send a check or money order to the address on your screen or call 502-964-1656. Get the smoke out of your eyes and keep up with the sport you love so well. Join the ATPA, America's premier pulling organization.
Back in Brandenburg, Kentucky, a part of any fair has to be the fair food. Hamburgers are on the grill. Welcome to the Jasper Pulling Series. Ted Jones, Tom McConnell here with you. We're ready to begin the 7,500-pound Superstock.
Well, usually Father Nick drives, but tonight, Nicky, the son, is doing the driving.
Boy, that is one gorgeous tractor. Look at the chrome wheels and look at the black smoke pouring out of that diesel. He sets a nice mark, Tom. 217 feet, not bad for a test pull.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you were talking about black smoke, we're going to see a lot of this guy here. Not one, not two, but three turbochargers on a 436 cubic inch International. Kamikaze Ken Hale, watch him ride the wheelie bars on this thing.
Had the wheels up initially right off the line, now continues to carry them. Not going to touch them down either. He wiggles and waddles, and can he beat it? Oh, yeah. 241.81 feet, nearly a full pull for Ken Hale. Now, Ron Eads in the Indiana Rascal will be our next puller. While he's lining up and getting hooked to the sled, let's check in with Bret Kepner, who is with Ken Hale.
They don't call Ken Hale Kamikaze for nothing. That was a ride.
Thank you. It's a pretty good ride. Made her hook real good.
A lot of people thought that these types of tires would work well on this track.
Oh, yeah, they work pretty good. Working good.
Anybody going to be near you think? How did it feel?
Oh, yeah, I think so. There's a lot of more heavy iron out there to come yet.
See what happens. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Ron Eads is one of those heavy iron tractors he's talking about. Man, he is hooked to the track up in the air just like Kamikaze Ken.
The Indiana Rascal, the number to beat, 241.81. He's still going, still going. He's going to be close to that measurement. Oh, look at that, 241.45 feet. He's just a little short. He won last week in Wabash, Indiana. Bret Kepner's down there with him now.
I mean, let's face it, Wheatley would be proud of that one.
It was a little light on the front, but we'll change her a little tomorrow.
I think it went up quicker than any tractor I've seen so far. I mean, immediately straight up.
Yeah, it bit quick. It bit quick. My weight was just a little off.
4 inches is as good as a mile in this sport, but that was a valiant effort, my friend.
Thank you.
Well, here comes some trouble. This is the troublemaker.
Eddie Elliott started life with this tractor as a farm stock, Ted, and he just kept adding turbochargers. Up to 1, 2, now he's got 3 of those rascals.
Well, maybe when he gets 4 of those rascals under there, he'll be able to go better than 210 feet. But it's not over yet. When we come back, we'll get down and dirty. Stay tuned. As the diesel smoke rises high into the bluegrass sky, you're watching the Lucas Oil Bluegrass Nationals from Brandenburg, Kentucky. We're in the middle of the 7,500-pound Superstock class, and our next puller is going to be Leroy Mason and his Down and Dirty International.
Well, this is an alcohol Superstock tractor, and this track at Brandnburg is known for being an alcohol Superstock track. What with the high RPMs these alcohol tractors make, and with the double-cut tires that they wear. So, Ted, even though it's a small cubic inch tractor, I would not count Leroy Mason out at all with this 766. Remember, earlier tonight, he won the 5,500-pound class.
Ken Hale laid down the number to be beat, 241.81 inches, and it looks like Leroy Mason is on a pole. Wheels up in the air, going straight. He's going to do it. 243.50 feet. That's incredible. He takes the lead in the heavyweight category. This coverage brought to you by Lucas Oil Products for high performance and Jasper engines and transmissions, and by Valco of Cincinnati. Here's Brett.
Good grief, could this be a Leroy double coming up?
Well, I'm hoping.
I have never seen such a pretty pull from a tractor in this class. It picked the front end up, left it there. It never bobbled once. Even if you thought it was too high, it was perfect as far as wheel spin and the weight on the front end.
Yeah, we thought we'd have her balanced pretty good. We learned a lot in that 5.
Does it help you that much when you come back for the second class, what you learned with 2,000 less pounds on it?
Oh, yeah. It's a big difference. You can really tell a lot about the track and the way the sled's going to pull and the way you're going to hook it on the line.
You know, I'm inclined to believe you.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
It's not over yet, though. We have more 7,500-pound Superstock tractors ready to pull. As a matter of fact, the white one you see backing up to the sled to hook up now is called the Kentucky Sled Hunter.
This has got to be one of the most immaculate prepared Superstock tractors in the class. Gene Sharber out of Northern Kentucky built the fuel system on this tractor, and it's not a Case International, it's 100% Case. So let's see what Mr. Moore can do as the Sled Hunter goes down the track.
Doesn't seem to be straining. Nice wheels up, going straight right down the far side of the track, but he's done early. 209.62 feet. Well, Leroy Mason's 243 is plenty safe.
Just seemed like he couldn't get hooked into the track. Coming up next, one of the toughest tractors you're going to find anywhere. Number 2 in Jasper points last year. Robert Galloway, the guy that put Strawberry Plains, Tennessee on the map. aboard the Hulk.
The kids love this tractor. Remember the incredible Hulk series, and the monster was green? Well, this is a big green John Deere monster. Watch him as the smoke turns black, the turbochargers are working, and he is on a pull.
Uh-oh. Going over to the right-hand side of the track, Galloway had to get on the brake. That cost him.